So imagine walking into like the most important job interview of your entire life. Or maybe you are meeting your partner's family for the very first time.
Oh, yeah, that is always a high-stress situation.
Totally. I mean, you have spent days, maybe even weeks, preparing for this exact moment.
Eh.
You picked out the perfect outfit. You rehearsed your talking points in the mirror until you practically lost your voice.
Right, you are mentally hyping yourself up in the car before you even go inside.
Exactly. You walk through the door, you sit down, clear your throat, and get ready to absolutely prove yourself.
Yeah.
But, well, here's the terrifying truth about that scenario. Before you even pull out your chair, your fate is largely sealed.
Because it actually takes your brain a fraction of a second, literally the blink of an eye, to judge someone.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah.
How is it that we can spend hours preparing for a moment, but the other person makes up their mind about our competence, our trustworthiness, and, like, our personality in just 100 milliseconds?
It doesn't seem fair at all.
Welcome to the Missing Lessons, where we explain what school never did. Today, we are taking a deep dive into the invisible biological and psychological rules of first impressions.
Because understanding this 100 millisecond window is basically the ultimate cheat code for navigating relationships, securing jobs, and surviving in a socially complex world.
Exactly.
If you're enjoying the missing lessons, make sure to follow the podcast, leave a rating, and share it with someone who might find it interesting. It helps us create more episodes and reach more curious minds.
So let's start by unpacking exactly what happens in your brain when you lock eyes with a stranger for the very first time. The underlying mechanism here is driven by the amygdala.
That's the emotional center of the brain, right?
Spot on. It's this tiny almond-shaped cluster of neurons, and it is essentially your brain's primal threat detection center. When you encounter a new face, that ancient alarm system activates instantly.
Wow, before you even realize you're looking at a person.
Yeah, the timeline is completely mind-blowing. In just 40 milliseconds, your brain assesses if the person standing in front of you is a physical threat.
40 milliseconds.
Just 40. Then, at 50 milliseconds, it makes a call on whether or not they are trustworthy. And by the 100 millisecond mark, your brain has already judged their overall competence.
But wait, are we actually accurately judging someone's competence in a blink, or is our brain just, panicking and guessing?
That is the crucial question. And, well, your brain is absolutely guessing. It's doing so based on probability, not accuracy.
Okay, so why would our brains prioritize speed over getting it right?
You have to look back at evolutionary history. For our ancient ancestors out on the savannah, guessing wrong about a rustling bush or a strange figure meant, becoming lunch.
Right, if you take 10 seconds to analyze the situation, you're already dead.
Exactly. Survival depended on split-second decisions. We inherited this ultra-rapid evaluation system to survive life or death encounters. The catch is, today, we use those exact same ancient circuits to evaluate someone in a business meeting.
So we're essentially using prehistoric hardware to, run modern social software.
That is a perfect way to put it. We're sizing up a new roommate the same way we'd size up a rival tribe member.
Okay, but my life is mostly digital now. Since we know why the brain acts so fast, what exactly is it looking for in those precious milliseconds?
Well, it scans for physical cues completely unconsciously.
Hmm.
For example, the human brain automatically judges wider faces as being more aggressive.
Really? Just the width of the face?
Yeah, because historically, wider faces were linked to physical strength. So the amygdala flags it as a potential threat. On the flip side, large eyes are instantly flagged as honest.
Let me guess, because they remind us of babies.
You got it.
Uh-oh.
It triggers nurturing instincts. But it's not just faces. Your voice, pitch, and pace matter immensely. If you speak too fast, it signals that you're in fight or flight mode, so you seem anxious.
But what about through a screen? Does this 100 millisecond rule still apply if I'm just on a video call?
Oh, it absolutely does. The brain does not care if the face is in person or on a screen. Virtual impressions just use a different set of cues. Your digital environment is basically your new body language.
So the background of my video call.
Yeah, good lighting and a clean background make you seem significantly warmer. Because when the brain can't clearly read your micro-expressions due to harsh shadows, it gets suspicious.
Because it feels like you're hiding something in the dark.
Exactly. And here is where it gets really crazy. Having high-quality audio, like using a good microphone, actually makes you come across as more intelligent.
Wait, really? Better audio makes you sound smarter? How does that even work?
It comes down to cognitive fluency. The human brain is lazy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wants to conserve energy. When audio is choppy or full of static, The listener's brain has to burn extra calories just to decipher your words.
Ah, so it takes actual effort to listen to bad audio.
Right. But the brain rarely blames the microphone. Instead, it subconsciously decides, well, this information is hard to process, so this person's ideas must be confusing or less intelligent.
Oh, wow. So if I'm pitching an idea on a bad Wi-Fi connection, I could lose the deal just because the client's brain got tired of the static.
Yep. And even text matters. Bold fonts take up more space, so they're perceived as authoritative. Rounded fonts mimic soft objects, so they feel warm. Every digital choice is a signal.
Okay, so our brains make these split-second judgments based on ancient wiring and subtle cues, but why are they so incredibly hard to change once they are locked in?
Well, that's because once the brain makes a decision, it falls into some very sticky psychological traps. The brain hates holding contradictory information. The first trap is the fundamental attribution error.
What's that exactly?
It's when we attribute someone's behavior to their core personality instead of their current circumstances. Like, if someone seems nervous when we meet them, we instantly label them an anxious person.
Instead of realizing, like, they might just be having a really stressful day.
Exactly. We ignore the context, we give ourselves grace for our own mistakes, but we judge everyone else entirely by their character based on a fraction of a second.
That is a brutal double standard.
It really is. And the second trap makes it worse, which is the halo effect. This is where one positive trait completely infects everything else.
So, like, if someone is really attractive or well-dressed.
Yes. We unconsciously assume they are also smart, capable, and moral. There's absolutely no logical connection between a nice suit and being a good person, but our brains link them anyway.
Basically, if you look the part, people will literally invent other good qualities about you that you might not even have. It's like applying a filter to someone's entire personality.
That is exactly what it is. And, well, the real-world stakes of this are massive.
Yeah, let's talk about the real world. How does this play out for, say, workers and businesses?
Well, in job interviews, hiring decisions are often made in the first few minutes. Think about the handshake. A firm handshake signals extroversion and openness.
Right, but a weak one.
A weak, dead fish handshake makes a person read as shy or neurotic. The interviewer's brain locks onto that, the halo effect kicks in, and suddenly they view your entire resume through the lens of a bad handshake.
So you could be completely qualified but get passed over because of one nervous moment.
Exactly. And wrong hires based purely on this kind of good chemistry cost companies up to 7 times an employee's annual salary.
Oh, that is a huge financial loss just for trusting a gut feeling.
It is. But let's look at everyday life, too. Managing these impressions is downright exhausting. Take neurodivergent individuals, for example, like those on the autism spectrum.
Right, because their natural mannerisms might not align with what the amygdala expects.
Exactly. They often have to consciously monitor their posture, their eye contact, and their behavior. This is called masking. They have to manually operate the social signals that neurotypical people just send out automatically.
That sounds draining. It's like driving a manual car in heavy traffic while everyone else is in an automatic. You have to think about every single shift.
That is a brilliant way to describe it. They burn incredible amounts of energy just to avoid giving the wrong first impression to people who misread their cues.
Are there situations where this bias is actually dangerous?
Unfortunately, yes. Look at the medical field. Doctors can fall victim to first impression bias, anchoring to their very first assumption about a patient.
Like, if a patient walks in and they look generally healthy.
Exactly. If the patient presents subtle symptoms, and the doctor's initial gut feeling in those first 10 seconds is that they are fine, it alters the whole appointment.
So the doctor's brain just kind of minimizes anything that contradicts that first thought.
Yes, to maintain cognitive consistency. This can lead to devastating diagnostic delays. They can even miss things as serious as cancer simply because the patient didn't look sick enough initially.
Wow. If our brains are this easily tricked by a smile or a nice outfit or an anchoring bias, what does this mean for society as a whole?
Honestly, it holds back progress and diversity. We have a highly subjective, biased idea of what a leader or a competent person looks like.
Like assuming someone with glasses is just automatically smarter.
Exactly. Because we equate leadership with familiarity, we inherently trust people who look and act like the leaders we've seen in the past.
So it stops society from recognizing true capability if it comes in a different package.
Right. It slows down social progress immensely.
Think about the last person you met. What was the very first thing you noticed about them? Would you have made the same judgment if they were wearing sweatpants instead of a suit?
It's a tough question, right? But since we know how this works, you can become a master of the first impression. Let's talk about actionable advice.
Okay, give me the cheat codes. What can we do?
First is the smile strategy. You'd think a massive smile is always best, right?
Yeah, to seem friendly?
Well, a broad, massive smile makes you seem very warm, but actually slightly less competent.
Wait, really?
Yeah. A slight, modest smile makes you look highly competent, but less warm. You have to choose your smile based on the situation.
It's a big smile for a party, modest smile for a board meeting.
Exactly. Next is eye contact. There's a sweet spot. Keep eye contact for exactly 60% of the time.
The 60% rule. Because staring 100% of the time is just creepy.
Yeah, it triggers a threat response. 60% hits the perfect balance of confident but respectful. And finally, clothing.
How should we dress to hack the system?
Dress slightly better than the expected standard. If the office wears t-shirts, you wear a polo. It triggers that halo effect without looking like you're trying too hard.
Okay, but what if I completely mess up? What if I spill coffee, give a weak handshake, and make a terrible first impression? Is it game over?
Thankfully, no. First impressions are stubborn, but they are not permanent. The reality is, it takes exactly 3 to 4 positive interactions to override a single negative first impression.
Oh, that's a relief. So you just have to consistently show up and prove that the first meeting was a fluke.
Exactly. Overwhelm their bias with undeniable proof. Speaking of which, here's a question for you. Have you ever had a terrible first impression of someone who later became one of your closest friends? What happened to change your mind? Let us know your thoughts in the comments.
Yeah, drop a comment on the video. We'd love to read them. To sum it all up, we are basically walking around with ancient hardware in a modern world.
Yep, completely wired that way.
Whether it's a job interview, a date, or a doctor's appointment, we are all just playing a 100-millisecond game of survival and pattern recognition.
And the most important thing to remember is that a first impression doesn't actually reveal a person's true self.
Right. It just reveals their context.
Exactly. It reveals their stress level and how well they play the rules of the game in a fraction of a second. The smartest thing you can do is learn to control the signals you send out.
And be forgiving enough to give others a second glance.
Exactly.
If you enjoyed this episode of The Missing Lessons, don't forget to follow the podcast, leave a rating, and share it with a friend. Your support helps us continue exploring the topics school never taught us.
So, the next time you walk into a room, just remember, everyone's brain is racing to paint a complete picture before a single word is spoken. Make sure you are the one holding the brush.